So my phone has been blowing up over the last couple of hours because of Rob Walter's press conference after the 3-1 defeat to India in the T20I series. I uploaded the press conference, and you know that I keep these reactions to a minimum. I keep my viewership of the reactions to a minimum because I want to react live to it on the channel, and I want to be able to give my thoughts fresh, having not heard a single thing of what was said. But then over the weekend, I've been getting a hell of a lot of texts and a lot of messages on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, as well as on my WhatsApp, because of some of the things that Rob Walter apparently said in his press conference. And I was like, I haven't heard it yet. I'm going to be reacting to it on the channel. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to react to Rob Walter's press conference and give my thoughts and my opinions based on what I'm hearing here for the first time. So don't spoilers in the live chat. Let me hear what he has to say because I haven't really heard it. And the press conference is blowing up on the channel as well. So it's really giving me it's making me a little bit excited to hear what is being said here, but also a little bit worried at the same time because I'm like, what was said in this press conference that is getting so much attention? So we're going to get into that on today's show. But before we get going, before we get started, there are a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel, please. Click that notification bell for all future videos. It's very important that you guys all do so. Smash the like button, comment in the comment section below as well. After this video has ended and the stream has ended, please comment in the comment section below. And also, please remember to smash that like button. It's very important so that we get into recommended feeds on YouTube. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your live cricket show. I'm your host, Khalid Moedin, and this is the show where we're going to be speaking about Rob Walter's press conference. I'm going to be reacting live on this channel to his press conference. I haven't seen it yet, and I've been getting a hell of a lot of texts, etc., to tell me to react to this. So I'm going to react to it right now on today's show, live for you guys. I haven't seen a single comment, a single thing about this. I've kept away from it until this show. So let's get straight into it. Let me have a listen to what Rob Walter had to say.
In this format against a team who few months ago you took very deep into a World Cup final and then beat them the other day. How do you explain a performance like that?
Yeah, there's probably a number of reasons for it. I think realistically, if a team gets 280, the margins, you're either winning it or you're going to lose by a mile. There's no in-betweens, I don't think. So when a rate gets up to 20 and over by the fifth over, then it's only going one way from there unless someone does something unbelievably amazing in terms of the cricket space. So, yeah, I think they've batted particularly well. They certainly showed a skill set that was better than what we could offer with the ball. Their intent was, as I said, was right up there. Their movement in the crease, they certainly made it very difficult to bowl to them. And then also just the quality of the cricket that they played. So they put a relatively inexperienced bowling lineup under pressure and capitalized on that. So as I said, you get 280. Those games either go one or two ways, and went the other way for us.
Yeah, but the first thing, it shouldn't be 280. And I know he's saying inexperienced bowling attack. He had an experienced guy on the bench in Neil Bartman. I don't understand why he didn't get a go or didn't get a shot in this particular match. It will bring a hell of a lot more experience to the bowling attack automatically. Marco, Gerald, I don't count them as inexperienced anymore. They have 2 World Cups under their belt. They are now starting to become very important bowlers in South Africa's team. So for me, that's no excuse. To concede 283 in a T20 match is pathetic. And something needs to be done about it, because every single game we are seeing extras of 19, 20, 17 extras in every single game, which is not on. There needs to be something done with regards to the bowling coaches, etc., to get that on point, because we can't be conceding so many extras and then on top of it still conceding a hell of a lot of runs.
Then Zahir.
Rob, over the course of the series, there were 40 wides from South Africa.
There we go.
Obviously, part of that is to do with an inexperienced side, but there didn't seem to be a case of them solving that particular issue. Why was this happening in amongst the rest of the bowling, which struggled as well?
So half of those wides are explained by bowlers being put under pressure. So if you're under pressure and you're travelling, the default is obviously to try go to the wide line. If you're going to miss, you're going to miss on the outside, because if you miss on the inside, like you've seen, you go for 6. So a bowler will always make the error on the outside, same as the short ball. The short ball wides are, ultimately they're an error because you've been put under pressure. And then in amongst that, you've got guys who just not fully in control of their bowling action, at times. So,
But why?
Marco Jansen is trying to get the ball to come into a left hand. If it hits the seam and keeps going, it's 4 wides. So it's not good enough. Of course, it's not like through lack of trying. It's not through lack of effort. In a series like you have when you're turning around very quickly, it's not like you spend hours training. You can't, because you're playing every second day. So really, it's for us to move away and just go back and continue to work very hard on our skill set, which wasn't good enough, pretty simply, really.
Zahir.
Yeah, but why are we still having those issues? My thing is that this is not only something that we saw in the series. We've seen it leading up to the series. We've seen it in the World Cups. That's what's shocking me over here, is that the fact that he's saying these things, almost like Marco Jansen is bowling, doesn't know how to swing the ball in a way. Now, in all honesty, I think that there needs to be something done about it from a bowling coach's perspective, because then the plans are wrong. I know he's saying that when the bowlers are under pressure, but start on the front foot. Why are our bowlers struggling to have control when swinging the ball at the international level? Those are things that you can excuse maybe in domestic level. You don't see other swing bowlers like India swing bowlers, Pakistani swing bowlers having issues with the control of their swing. Then don't bowl swing then, if you don't have control of it, because at the international level, there shouldn't be any excuses with regards to those basic errors. A lot of the balls go down leg. What about those ones? What about the no balls? That you have full control over no ball. You have full control over bowling a short ball bouncer. So those are things, especially in conditions that suit you. I can understand if there's a little bit of a problem in foreign conditions, but these are conditions where they play on a regular basis. These are conditions that they know off the back of their hand. They know the slopes, they know the conditions, they know the weather conditions, they know the air, from an altitude perspective. So they shouldn't be having these problems on our own soil. And there needs to be things done about that from a coach's perspective. Maybe not Rob, but his bowling coach, whoever he is, needs to get on top of that, of course.
Rob, just in addition to that, we've seen Eric Simons come in at major tournaments, but he doesn't seem to be with the team in bilateral series. Do you feel that
why's that?
need continuity with your bowling coach, and particularly if you have inexperienced bowling there?
I mean, I've said it before, that is the ideal, and we're certainly searching for consistency. Unfortunately, it won't be with Eric. It's just not possible. The two worlds don't match with regards to international cricket and franchise cricket from a coaching point of view. So Anton is on board at the moment, and certainly will be trying to be consistent with him for a period of time for the sake of the players, really, just to create some consistency in our coaching environment.
Who would like to take the next one?
So we do have a bowling coach, Anton.
Hi there. You spoke a bit about continuity in the bowling department from a coaching perspective, but what about from the players' perspective? I mean, a lot of the first team bowlers are injured and stuff like that, so just wanted a bit of an injury update on some of the first team bowlers, and will they be back for the summer going forward?
I think the only injury that we're currently dealing with is Lungi Ngidi. So he's a long-term injury, which has been reported. As for the rest, the reality is that some guys are being rested to be ready for the Test series, because that is a premium now. It's a real focus for us, given that we can qualify for the World Test Championship. So we have to, we have to consider South African cricket first and foremostly. So we make those decisions to rest guys like Kagiso Rabada. I mean, in the same breath, to grow the net of players, there's times we have to play younger guys, even in big series against good teams, and ultimately that's where they're going to learn the most, So it's really a balancing act, and there's no right or wrongs. We're trying to get it right. We're trying to get rest right. We're trying to get rotation right. We're trying to get exposure right, all at the same time. It doesn't excuse the performance. We still need to be better, and that starts with me as the head coach of the team.
Okay, so he's taken accountability there, and he's right. And I'm going to say it here, that part of it, what he's saying, it is correct. And I've said that many times on the channel before, that he has to balance a hell of a lot of things. There's a lot of things that Rob Walter has to deal with. To find the time to do all of those things in in the amount of games that we play is extremely difficult. He has to juggle a lot of things. And that is true. But there's ways to lose cricket matches. And getting thumped like this isn't good for cricket in South Africa. It sends the wrong message to fans around the country about our cricket. And so we need to find ways on how to be competitive at least. If we're going to lose to a more settled team, like India's team is pretty settled when it comes to the T20 game. It's a lot of experience there, even though it's youngsters. They've played a hell of a lot of T20 cricket at a high level, at the IPL level. So if we're going to lose to a team like that, at least fight for it. At least go down fighting, like we did in the third T20I, I think it was. We went down, but we went down fighting. We got past the 200 mark on the chase. But it's basics that lost us that final one. Basics from the bowling perspective that we got completely wrong. If you are not able to hit the specialist balls like the Yorkers, like the wide Yorkers, like consistent bounces, like swing, a normal test line and length will do. As long as you can keep consistency, put the ball in the right areas or in the same areas over and over repetitively. That is the key then. And that should be communicated to them by the bowling coach. Now we've got a bowling coach, Anton Roux, that's involved here. He's new now to the system, so we're going to have to maybe give him a little bit of time to settle in and get familiar with the players and their styles and etc. So yeah, it's a pity because this is what we're going to remember right up until we play Pakistan again.
Cool, we're going to go Stu, then Kagiso.
All of that being said, Proteas conceded over 203 times in this series, and yet someone like Otniel Bartman didn't play at all. Is there a reason behind that?
Just in this instance, we're giving exposure to Luto Sepamla from a bowling point of view, Naba Peter before that. So yeah, this again, it's a balancing act. We're trying to move our team forward. As I said after the World Cup, everyone needs to play their part in terms of transforming this team and making it more representative. So, that's part of a journey.
Speaking of balancing acts and growing the net.
Did either use transformation as an excuse?
The team itself hasn't done well in bilateral series yet. They've shown up in the tournaments. How do you balance needing to perform in bilaterals and also rocking up for tournaments? Whereas in the past, South Africa would play well in bilaterals but not show up in tournaments.
Whoa. Let me just get back to that quickly about getting transformative with the team. That isn't. No ways is that the reason. Like. Naba Peter has deserved an opportunity to be selected in the side as a wrist spinner and the way he's performed domestically. Luto Sepamla, okay, you could perhaps say that he maybe hasn't done enough since he came back from his injury. But he did do extremely well in the final in the T20 Challenge. These are good bowlers. There is no reason why they should be bowling so poorly. This is down to plans and not down to playability. I've seen Lutus Apamla bowl extremely well in T20 cricket for South Africa. Now, but Peter, maybe you can give it a little bit of an excuse because he's young and he's still learning his craft. But leaving Otniel Bartman out doesn't make sense from a transformative point of view. Otniel Bartman should be the first name on that team sheet as a bowler when it comes to the T20 format. He is our best T20 bowler. Bar maybe Andrich Nokia if Andrich Nokia is available. So I don't buy this whole thing of why he had to sit on the bench for transformation purposes. That doesn't make sense at all to me. Because you could have played him. You could have rested Gerald. You could have played Otniel Bartman. And we wouldn't have lost too much in that regard. Because Otniel would have brought something different to what Gerald brought. Gerald in the Highveld is can be quite expensive, and you could see that he's struggling a bit. He has a test series coming out. He could have done with some rest. And we all know about transformation, but also transformations over a certain amount of time and over a certain period. And there was no transformation when it came to the World Cups. We've been given that opportunity from that perspective. So I just disagree with that fully.
Well, the easy answer is that when we go to the World Tournaments, we're picking our very best 15 players. But we can't pick those same 15 players every single time we play because it's just not feasible. There's just too much cricket. So the rest of the time we have to build our base of players up to be to the same level. So which is what you're seeing with the Indian side, right? There's a number of players that are not here right now, but their fringe players are stepping up and creating pressure on the guys that fulfill the main 11. So ultimately, if you look at the stats around the number of players used by the different international sides, they all sit in the same space over the last 2 years, in between 30 and 36 players roughly. So everyone's attempting to do the same thing because the cricket landscape is actually the same for everyone. If you look at win percentages of those teams, they actually all sit in a similar space as well in 50 over cricket and T20 cricket, barring India and Australia in T20 cricket, because obviously India, as you know, have won 24 out of 26 this year. So everyone's in a fairly similar position when it comes to bilateral cricket. Again, there's no excuses. We haven't played well enough, and that's quite simple. But how do you figure out where you're at? Is you've got to go and compete with the best exposed players at the highest level and see where they're at and understand what we need to work on.
We're going to wrap with here.
Yeah, but also give them the right instructions and the right coaching and the right guidance to be able to perform at that level. I don't want to compare teams and coaches here, but I'm going to. What Coach Shukri has done with the test side, with the younger guys getting exposed, and test cricket is a lot harder than T20 cricket. Let's just be honest here. He's made it easier for younger players or newer players to get adapted or to adapt to international cricket. He's done that with the players. So why can't we do that at a T20 level? These players play a lot more T20 cricket than they play the longer format. So they should be more used to their game. Especially our bowlers should be a lot more used to our game. I believe that Ngaba Peter deserves to be in the side based on his performances. Got nothing to do with the color of his skin. The guy's been, over the last 2 seasons, as a wrist spinner, there hasn't been many that have competed with him, bar Junaid Dawood this season. Last season, Junaid Dawood barely played any cricket. And Ngaba Peter was the person that came through and did extremely well. Now, yes, is there ways for him to improve? Is there ways to utilize him better in the middle? Perhaps use his skill set at a better, and maybe give him the coaching he needs to be able to take his bowling to the next level. That's what's lacking here. So that's the coaches' jobs. The coaches that are there, the batting coaches, the bowling coaches, the main coach. it's their job to be able to upskill these players and take their games to the next level, because they don't have SAA games or emerging games to be able to improve their games and learn these things, because that step up is massive. And the point of the coach is to bridge that gap between the two, to make sure that these players are ready for international cricket.
Rob, you're at the mercy of the schedule, at the mercy of all these factors. But if you take someone like Henrik Nokia, he only plays home games in domestic cricket. I want to qualify for the Champions Trophy, so play one cricket. Like, how do you manage somebody a bit like that within your system?
It's obviously difficult. Again, there's so many factors, not just one. The reality is, a guy like Henrik, I certainly wouldn't doubt his want to play for South Africa and his commitment to do that. I think he made a decision personally around contracting so that he could move away from playing Test cricket for a while, because I think physically he was finding it a bit tough to do everything, and I respect that. At the end of the day, again, when it comes to the world tournaments, we want to pick our best side, and if he is one of those best players, we consider him. Just Shamo has done exactly the same thing. So I think we need to pay cognizance of what's happening in world cricket. It's not easy, and the national side is competing with franchise cricket, and the money lies in franchise cricket, not international cricket. That's the reality that we live in, and so again, the balancing act continues.
Your record as major tournaments is untouched, basically. But are you starting to feel that I need to win a series? I'm starting to feel I'm under pressure. I need to win a bilateral series, or do I stay on this path of 2027, 2026? Is that the long-term goal, or do the short-term goals start becoming more and more?
It's incredibly difficult, to be dead honest. Every coach has great pride in the job that they produce. Ultimately, the performance of the team rests with me. I'm the head coach, so I'm responsible for that. So to lose series, to lose games of cricket, it never sits well. If we don't move forward as a side, that doesn't sit well either, because ultimately, we need to continually be moving forward at the very least. So there's some instances where we've not grown. That's disappointing again. So do I feel pressure from anyone other than myself? No, I feel the greatest pressure from me personally as a coach who's got great pride in the job that he does, but also in pride for the country and the Proteas as a cricket team, and wanting to make sure that they represent the country well. So that's where the pressure comes in, because tonight is not a good example of how we want to play. Losing a series is not what we want to stamp our name towards, and certainly beginning with me, that's highly disappointing. I want the team to be better, and it starts with me being better.
Okay, so not as crazy as I thought it would be. I mean, there were some things said there that I don't agree with, but I don't think it was as controversial as maybe a lot of people made it out to be. I see that in the report there was an article written about Herschel Gibbs's quotes. They did the article is on IOL as well, which I'm just going to try and show it on the screen here and read it to you guys, because I hear that this was also quite hectic or controversial from a South African cricket perspective. And I'm just going to read out and maybe give my thoughts on this as well. Let's see. Okay. Proteas could fire Rob Walter, says Herschel Gibbs. Well, that's a major statement. Is it at that level, guys, yet for him to lose his job? Rob Walter could be close to receiving his marching orders, as Proteas limited overs coach believes former South African batsman Herschel Gibbs South Africa crashed to a 3-1 T20 international, blah, 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 blah. That's just about the story and what happened. That's the fluff. Okay. Walter's departure must be close. In other countries, the axe would have already fallen, Gibbs told the Report newspaper. Our skills haven't improved under him. Our bowling is one dimensional. If plan A doesn't work, you have to have plan B. We don't have that plan. Australia used the Yorker early rather than late option, but we refuse to do that, says Gibbs. I don't think that's so major. When we use the Yorker, it's about our execution of the Yorker. We need to make sure that we can be consistent and not bowl wides with them and try and land them on the ground. We need to have a lot more training on it, and these players need to go away because with bowling, bowling's not the same as batting, in my opinion. It's about the rhythm at the end of the day. You can go home and practice putting the ball on a particular spot consistently, and it's repetition after repetition after repetition. It becomes muscle memory, and then you can be able to do that on a game day as well. You maybe need a couple of balls to get used to the new environment, and then you can start going and getting in your rhythm. So that's something you can go away and practice. Whereas with the batting, it has a lot to do, obviously, with form, your headspace as well, which is something you can't coach necessarily, is your headspace. You can maybe learn different techniques to help you cope with pressure, but I don't think you can really coach the mental strength. You can't coach a mental strength. You either have it or you don't, kind of, and you can maybe find ways to improve that mental strength. It has to be asked whether there is a need for fresh younger faces in the top order, says Gibbs. Riza's hitting game is very limited in the power play, and Aiden Markham has been struggling for some time. So that's some of the quotes that Herschel Gibbs had to say. Also, nothing really groundbreaking over here. He's just kind of said that maybe it might be time for Rob Walter to give it up. Now, that is something that we can speak about a little bit before I say bye to you guys. There is discussions I've heard amongst fans, amongst people that know about the game, that are maybe suggesting that South Africa go back to a one-coach system. A lot of the other countries some countries are going back to the one-coach system. And if that is the case, then who would you want to see as the one coach? It will have to be Coach Shukri, in my opinion. I think that wouldn't be a bad decision to make. I think he's gifted enough, he's good enough, and he's aware enough of our domestic system, and he has the experience winning trophies in the limited overs cricket, in domestic cricket in South Africa. So that wouldn't be a bad decision. But I do think that maybe it's a little bit too soon for us to get on this train. We mustn't also underestimate the difficulty of getting to knockout stages in World Cups. Rob just has to sort out what he wants to do and how he's going to balance everything so that he can still get wins in series, especially at home. That's going to be the key here now. And he has to maybe look at some players and he has to see that maybe they are not improving, they're getting worse. And then he rather put in a younger guy that has space and room to improve than persist with a guy that's a little bit older and is maybe on the decline. I think those type of transitions need to happen a lot quicker. If he's going to want to find the next generation of talent so that we can have a second team that is depth, he's going to have to give them opportunities. So it's maybe time for him to start doing that and leaving out some senior players. Allow these players to get their form back at domestic cricket or in SA20, etc., and not at the international level, and rather give some of the younger guys an opportunity so that we can maybe strengthen our depth and expose them to international cricket a lot sooner. So that is something that I think we should be doing. Okay, so let me just get into some of the last couple of comments over here. I can't get to all of them at the top. The biggest problem I have with Rob is the reluctance to drop players. Amit says Miller no longer has the ability to enter and smash, so Riza should be out. Markram Stubbs should move up one place. Each and Miller must bat at number 4 so that he can have some time in the middle. That could be an option. Or we can just get a new opener to open with Ryan. Muketsi says, Rob has failed. He's sounding like Eric Ten Hag, now giving us silly excuses, pointing at transformation as an excuse. Yeah, that was strange to me. That was really, really strange to me. I don't agree with that at all. Like, Othniel Bartman 100% should be the first name on the team sheet. Build the rest of the team around him. As the build the rest of the bowling unit around him. Yeah, that was weird to me. And I understand transformation plays a part, but it's over a full season and a full year. And you could have given someone like Mapungwana opportunity even. I mean, that's a guy that you can give a chance to as well. These are all players that are good enough, regardless of their skin color. So I think it's a lame excuse, to be honest. Lorenzo says, just joined the show now, so don't know if you guys covered this, but Rob name dropping to black African players in the transformation talk was not on. Yeah, and I agree, it's not on at all. That was a shocker for me, an absolute shocker that he said that. Bevan says, I feel so sorry for South African cricket coach who cannot do his job properly because he does not have a full merit squad. But he does have a full merit squad. His squad, none of the players in this squad don't deserve to be there. All of these players have performed at CSA T20 challenges, at the SA T20 or SA20 as well. Domestically, they're performing. They all have deserved opportunities in the side. We were talking about Ngaba Peter for years now. I mean, for the last 2 years now, saying that Rob should give him an opportunity. You can't, on the one hand, say he should be given the opportunity. Then if something goes wrong and he doesn't maybe perform like we thought he did, then blame transformation. No, bullshit. We don't do that with white players that don't perform. So that shouldn't be the case at all. That's not the reason at all. He's been given a strong team. He's been given the best players in our system to work with. Things just need to improve, and we need to find a way on how to coach this team better and find ways to utilize these players and improve them. Sarat says, I would love to see Herman, Coben, Bosch, Bellingham, and Berevis in T20. Your thoughts? They should all be performing at a regular basis at domestic cricket if they want to get selected for the Proteas. Remember that Lutus Apamla also had a man of the match performance in the CSA T20 Challenge final. He's been injured for the last 2 seasons on and off. And that's why he's been missing in action. Prashant says, what should be the SA team for Champions Trophy? We'll get to that closer to the time, bro. Blood 77, so thoughts on Morkel being the bowling coach for India? Why can't we get him? Lorenzo says, in the same sentence, he blames transformation for our poor bilateral form, but then says that the reason why we're doing so good in the World Cups is because we play our best players. I'm done with Rob. Now, the T20 World Cup, we didn't have transformation targets. It was communicated to journalists, it was communicated to the world. There was no transformation targets for the World Cup. Now, I don't know why CSA can't come out. Whoever's in charge over there at the top, come and speak to us and tell us, this is the plan with transformation. This is what we're doing. At this parts of the year, we're going to be doing X. At this part of the year, we're going to be doing Y. This is the clear understanding of what's going on down. You shouldn't be letting your coach explain that, because it's not the coach's decision to implement transformation. It's forced upon him. So the higher ups at CSA should come out and explain how transformation is going to be implemented in our cricket so that we have a better understanding of how things will go down. And then not throw your coach under the bus, having to answer questions about transformation. But at the same time, if a question is asked to the coach about it, he should protect his players and say they are good enough regardless of their color. Amit says, any chance of Nokia playing for the Proteas again? There is a chance, but we just don't know how he's doing currently, and how his head is and where his head is at with regards to everything. Lorenzo says, I agree with Johan van der Watt. Rob don't know how to get the best out of most of our players. Tex says, Riza must not play for Proteas ever again and give Markram and Rob one last chance against Pakistan. If they fail, drop them both and give captaincy to Miller, Miller and coaching to Rob Walter. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't like to put like a timer on coaches' heads and stuff like that, and say how long they should get and how long they shouldn't get. But this is not on. This can't continue like this. Khalid, where is Sasanda Magala? Is he still injured? I don't know what's going on with Sasanda Magala. I don't even think he's playing domestic cricket. The Ranger says, my thing is this. You can't have targets for bilateral series and not for World Cups. It should be either or, because this is just confusing for the fans and players. That's why I say it must be explained to us clearly on what they want to do. Where's Quentin de Kock? We have no clue. Nobody knows. A possible coach replacement could be Gary Kirsten, since he won India World Cup and coached us before. I don't want to go back into that train. It never worked before. We've tried that. That ship has sailed. Coaching to Shukri Khalid. I mean, I wouldn't be against that at all. I think Coach Shukri would be a great white ball coach as well. I thought that one coach was going to be selected before it was announced that two coaches would be selected, and my choice for coach would have been, for all formats, would have been Coach Shukri if there was only one coach being selected, and they went for two. I didn't know much about Rob before he came into the industry as a coach for the Proteas. I knew that he was involved with the Titans and strength and conditioning coach as well. But I didn't know much about him after he left those positions. I didn't really track his career. So when he was selected, it was kind of a wake-up call, because I needed to go learn more about him. And at first, I think he did extremely well to get us into knockout stages of a World Cup. But yeah, you know what's also funny is that there was no transformation targets for the World Cup, but yet we still picked quite a representative team in those World Cups. So that's why I think that was a very poor comment. So Riza must get dropped, but Markram should get one more chance. That's the problem right there. I think both should get. Both, if they both continuously perform poorly, they both should get dropped, and other people should be given an opportunity. It's as simple as that. There shouldn't be one or the other. It should be fair and square. Every player should be treated equally, and that's how it should be. If the Proteas didn't make the semi-finals, do you think Rob Walter would still be the coach today? Nope. I think if he didn't perform in the World Cups and didn't get to the knockouts, I don't think he would have kept his job. I think that's the one thing that's keeping him his position and his job. Fun fact, the Lions have a coaching staff of Russell Domingo, Hashim Amla, and Alan Donald. That's far better than the Proteas ODI and T20 setup have by a mile. And I also want, that's why it shocks me. Lutus Pamela is at the Lions and Ngaba Peter is at the Lions. They're brilliant coaches at the Lions, and they perform extremely well under those coaches. So that makes that comment even more bitter in my mouth, because those players perform domestically extremely well. And for bowlers, you can say this, because a line in length, a good line in length for the Lions is a good line in length internationally. It doesn't matter where you are. The only difference is the skill at the other end and being able to adapt your game according to what's happening on the day of in the middle. What are your plans? Those plans should be drawn up before the game. And if there should be a plan A, plan B, plan C, you know enough about these players to be able to analyze them and say, okay, this dude's going to try X. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try B. If that doesn't work, I'm going to try C. If he does play X shot, I know how to stop that combat from happening. Because in T20 cricket, you could kind of say batters have kind of specialized moves in a way, almost like WWE. They have specific shots that they try and play to give them the advantage and give them the edge. Because Andy Klassen, you know what he's going to do off the back foot, bang. You know what he's going to do against the spinners. So you try and catch him out. We need to find plans and try and implement those plans. And when you're bowling in the nets, don't just run in and bowl in the nets. Work out those plans. Tell the batter, okay, have a batter that's maybe not playing in the match, that's on the bench, to come in the middle and say, tell him, give him the instructions. Okay, try and lap him here. Bowl that delivery. Okay, try and sweep to shot him here. Bowl it there. So you're only allowed to bowl sweeps. You're only allowed to hit sweep shots here, for example. I don't know. I'm pulling things out of my ass here. But I'm saying, for example, you can say, play, okay, batter A, you can only play sweep shots right now. Come spinner, get in there, bowl, and try and get him out. And then continuously do it until you can get him out a certain amount of times in a session. But do they have enough time to do that before a bilateral series? I don't know. I think what Coach Rob needs, I think, is maybe a little bit more camps with these players, because that's been lacking. These players don't necessarily get time together as a team unit in a camp together for the white ball team. The red ball team gets that. They get that attention. They get that one-on-one time with the coach, and they get days and days together to be able to learn and take in information from Coach Shukri. I don't think they get that same vibe from in the limited overs format, because sometimes they just fly from one place to the next place in the play, so they don't really have a time together. I think this white ball team needs some time together, a camp or something where they can spend a lot of time with the coaches, spend a lot of time together, and start to learn each other's games, etc., and grow as a unit. Final comment, Hardy, there should be at least one Black African batter in the playing 11. This should be made mandatory, says Ravi. I think the transformation target should be implemented domestically and school level. I don't think it should be implemented internationally, personally, because I feel that we are producing enough players of color right now that can get selected. So that's something that I think that needs to be happen. Lawrence says Rob needs to be more ruthless. This guy is way too accommodated to some of these players. Yeah, he needs to be ruthless. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please smash the like button, comment, share, and please subscribe as well. Click that notification bell for all future videos, please. I really would appreciate it if you can do so. Don't forget to comment in the comment section after the video has ended. I really appreciate if you can do that as well. It really helps out with the reach and the spreading of our content across YouTube. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again very soon with another live show. Put your notifications on to get notified on when we will go live. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.